Caleb is sending everything to YouTube and getting everybody in here. But man, looks like we got another packed house this week, which is awesome. And got a lot of stuff to cover. But man, I'm going to pray here in just a second as we get this started. And then I want to open it up to stories. So if you guys saw the email, I just kind of want to start. We've been hearing a lot of great stories ourselves. I wanted to hear some from you guys, right? So whether it's something that came as a result of like the ministry ads and the prayer ads, like like we had like last week, whatever, with I think it was Jeanie was talking about someone that gotten saved in the last couple of days, and someone who'd been talked off the ledge of suicide and got hooked up with preventative care and that kind of stuff. Whether it's something like that, or whether it's just a unique way that you guys are using online church right now to reach people and do ministry, you have a cool story about that. Or if you just have like a cool idea, like when Aaron was sharing here, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, about the online membership class that he did and had 8 people join his church on a Saturday through Zoom. So whatever that is here. Real quick, can everybody hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me okay. Audio's working, everybody's good? Okay, perfect. All right, rock and roll. So man, let's pray real quick, then we'll kick it off with some stories, and then we'll kind of dive in here. So God, I thank you for every single person on this call. God, I thank you that it's not an accident that we're all gathered here on this coaching call right now. God, I thank you for the hearts of every single one of the pastors and church leaders that are represented here. God, that people are doing their best to be able to figure out how to use this opportunity to reach more people for Christ. God, I thank you. I pray that you would use me during this time, God, that you would give us godly inspiration and creative ideas on how to use social media technology to reach more people for your glory. God, we thank you. We love you in Jesus' name. And I pray that you would use this COVID-19 situation to bring more people into the kingdom. God, we know that you'll do exceedingly abundantly above and beyond all that we ask or imagine. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, rock and roll. So real quick, I'm going to go to gallery view. We've got a ton of people on here. So man, who's got a story? Jeanie, I know you had a really cool story here. I think it was last week about that. Like, if you have any more from this week or anyone else, just raise your hand. If you've got a story, we'll unmute you, and let's just kind of start this off with some encouragement before we dive in here. Somebody got something? Dan, yeah, what's up?
Hold on, let me unmute it. Hey, I've been doing this a year ago, and I got into the Chris Abbott program, and just this week I got the pastor to actually do a video. So that's a win. Awesome.
Okay, love it, bro.
Thanks for doing all this.
Thanks, Dan. Love that, man. That's awesome. All right, so let's see. Anybody else? Jeanie, do you guys have anything else that have come from the prayer ads here recently?
No, except just the sheer volume of them and just all of the, we actually do have people that are now integrating with us in that they stay in touch with us on an ongoing basis about the prayers, and are actually people who are in the prayer request list that are praying for people. So that's pretty awesome.
I love it. That's awesome. Very cool. Okay. I'll tell you. So one of the things that my church has been doing here recently, which is kind of cool, is so we have something we call a distribution center. So it's basically kind of like a food pantry / thrift store, and basically everything goes to just feeding families all over the Tulsa area. And so every single week, out of the distribution center, we call it the DC, just has a we give out somewhere between 400 and 700 bags of groceries to families in need around the Tulsa area, which is always very cool. So what we started doing here is about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and basically all this mess started, is we started doing, because with between 400 and 700 families like coming out, right? A lot of times that can be over 1,000 people. And so we had all those people who, and then normally they come up, we have like a short, it's like a 10-minute church service, just like 1 or 2 songs of acoustic worship, a brief message, and we always want to give people an opportunity to get saved and respond to the gospel. And then people start filing into the lines where they get bags of groceries and all kinds of food and fresh produce and stuff. So over the last 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it's been, we started doing a drive-through Friday groceries, and it's been insane. I think the first Friday that we did it, we had 994 cars come through, representing 994 families, right? And most of those cars were full, right? So it was probably close to at least 3,000 or 4,000 people that actually came through and got bags of groceries. and it was just pretty incredible, you know. And so we had tons of people who are getting food that you know, may not have had food that week, or may not have been able to eat that week, just because it's like, okay, just because of all this stuff going on doesn't mean that we can't not feed people. So it was backed up through the parking lot, down one street, down another street, and all the way out onto like the main avenue, kind of backing up traffic in one of the busy parts of Tulsa, because we're giving away free groceries to people, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so that's what I think we gave out all together. We had 994 cars that came through, and I think we ended up giving away almost 3,000 bags of groceries, because some cars had 2 or 3 families in it. So pretty cool stuff, something different. And then what we do every single year, we actually, on Palm Sunday, we do something we call Barefoot Sunday. And so because the DC not just has food, but also has a bunch of clothes and like thrift store stuff, you know, people like everything it's like 50 cents or $1. And basically all the money raised there, whether it's people from the church or people that come through for Friday groceries. Usually if they come through for Friday groceries, they can just take stuff for free. If it's from the church, 50 cents or $1, but all that money just goes to buying more food to feed people. And one of the things that we do every single year is we have Barefoot Sunday on Palm Sunday, where everyone goes and just drops off all of their shoes. So people will, you know, donate shoes that they don't wear very often. A lot of people go out and buy new shoes and donate those. And everybody comes into the worship service. You fill up a bag of shoes, and then literally the shoes that you wear, you walk up during worship and you leave them on the stage at the altar, and then everybody leaves barefoot. Right, so pretty cool thing when you see a couple of thousand people worshiping barefoot. The whole band is up on stage worshiping barefoot, and then everybody leaves and they're walking out barefoot. So we decided to do a drive-through Barefoot Sunday this past Sunday here, which is really cool. So just seeing hundreds and hundreds of cars coming through and just dropping off all those shoes. And the reason we do that is because it literally stocks up our distribution center with shoes for the entire year, and then those go out to you know, missions trips and missions countries, and that kind of stuff. They go to people here locally in town that need new shoes and all kinds of stuff. And so anyway, kind of a powerful thing was that they just had acoustic worship going on in the parking lot while everyone was just driving through, dropping off shoes. Because we said, hey, just because all this stuff's going on doesn't mean we can't, it doesn't mean we can stop reaching people. It doesn't mean people don't need shoes. So we're gonna have a drive-through Barefoot Sunday, which is pretty cool. All right, before we dive in, do we have any more like cool stories or innovative things that you guys are doing that you guys want to share before we dive in with Paul?
I have 2 different campaigns that I'm doing right now. My name is Eric Webster. How are y'all doing?
Hey, what's up, Eric?
Good. So the first campaign is for the church school. It's called the Shepherd School out of Pahokee, Florida. Here in Florida, you can get $6,500 in state vouchers if you have a Florida private school. For students of a certain income range, which we have a lot of them out here in rural Florida. So last year we did a campaign where on a $500 spend, we were able to generate 7 new students. So we brought in over $45,000 in revenue for the church school, which helped, of course, the church as well. And it was a simple video ad edited in Camtasia where the pastor was holding up placards just basically as he was going over each bullet point. It had the bullet points as he was holding up. Very simple, very straight to the point. Worked very, very well. Also, and right now we restarted it again. And right now, based on my ads manager, we're averaging about less than $4 per lead for the school. We've generated 7 leads in the last 2 days on it. Wow. And then for the Easter, we're doing just a simple ad going into engagement ad based on them showing an interest or going to our Easter service, where we're going to do a messenger follow-up, and we're averaging $2.17 based on 28 results. So we've had 28 results just on that for Easter Sunday.
Man, very cool, bro. Thanks for sharing that, Eric. That's awesome, man. All right, rock and roll. So, all right, let's do this. Eric, I think you were the one who shared last week that cool YouTube snippet, right?
Yeah, how to do the auto subscribe.
Yep, I love that. All right, I'm gonna put that in the chat here again this week, and that's what. So I just wanted to. So for anyone that wasn't here last week, I'm just gonna recap a couple of things we talked about, which were pretty cool, and then we'll kind of open it up to some Q&A, talk about a couple other things. But so last week, if you weren't on here, we talked about several different tools and kind of ways we can use social media and technology right now. Eric had a cool snippet of code that you can basically add to the end of your YouTube channel that when you send it, people basically click on it and it automatically subscribes them to the channel, which is super helpful. So I'm gonna pull all of that up real quick, and I'm gonna share some of these, some of the websites and things that we talked about last week. So we talked about that, which is going in the chat right now. I think Caleb added all this last week, but again, if you guys weren't there, okay. So that is that's for YouTube. So you can just add that to the end of your YouTube URL. The other things that we talked about was I thought this was really cool, and Caleb went and found it and posted it last week as well when I was talking about it. So I came across an article that Brady Shear has. So he was talking about kind of how to post on social media, different things. And he actually has this post. It's free. It's 39 different questions you can post on social media. They're going to create a lot of engagement. And I'm telling you, they work. They're pretty awesome. So I'm putting that in the chat here as well. So see that, prochurchtools.com/39 copy and paste question posts for churches on social media. If you guys are just looking for stuff, like you're not sure exactly what to post, you could probably post 2 questions a week on like a Tuesday and a Thursday or something like that, or Tuesday and a Friday. That's just going to help drive a lot of engagement. And again, one of the things we talked about last week is it just has a lower barrier of entry for social media. So instead of asking people deep theological questions and people being scared that they end up looking like an idiot or something trying to answer them, like what toppings do you like on your pizza is a much easier question to ask and to start kind of getting people getting people engaged and commenting. I'll tell you, as a side note, one of the things that's really interesting is if you find a way to make it a little bit controversial, right, you'll get a lot more people. So we talked about, like last week, there was a church that had kind of a viral post that literally said, true or false, oatmeal raisin is the best cookie, right? And then everyone's like, oatmeal raisin, it's freaking bull crap, right? Now they didn't say like chocolate chip is the favorite, which would be like overwhelmingly more people would pick chocolate chip. But they went with a controversial cookie, the most controversial cookie in the cookie family, if you ask me, right? So so by saying things like that, right? Like saying like, you could say like, do you guys agree with this statement, right? Or true or false, Hawaiian pizza, right? Like, pineapple and ham are the best toppings on your pizza, right? That's a different way of saying what's the, what type of toppings do you like on your pizza? But so many people, like the people who like Hawaiian pizza, number one, are freaks, okay? Like they need to repent and be baptized. Number two, the people who like Hawaiian pizza are super passionate about it. I've never talked to anyone who that's their favorite type of pizza is pineapple and ham, who isn't like super passionate about it for some reason, right? Like people that like pepperoni are like, oh yeah, I like pepperoni, right? Best type of cookie, chocolate chip, right? But people who like who like Hawaiian pineapple for whatever reason like to talk about it. So get those people talking. Everybody else like, dude, Hawaiian pizza sucks. Why would you put a fruit on your pizza? It doesn't make sense. It's blasphemy, right? But you're gonna get a lot of people talking. So if you can find a way to take a post like that and just make it a little bit controversial by going hard on and kind of promoting like the minority opinion, if you will. So let's see, Mike. Let's see. Sean says oatmeal raisin cookie post is actually from Brady Shear as well. Okay, very cool. Thanks, Sean. And let's see. Mike said also share unpopular opinion. Huge responses. I hate the sound of music. Come at me. Unpopular opinion. Very cool. And then let's see. Pastor Tucker had a question. How's everyone doing connection card info? So that's a great question. I'm curious. I know how a lot of churches that I've been talking to have been doing it, but let's open that up to the group here. How are you guys doing online digital connect cards right now?
We have a form that we use on Squarespace that goes right into a Google Sheets, almost like an Excel spreadsheet. And so we just use it connects from Squarespace from the form directly to our Squarespace, or directly to our Google Drive.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. Love that. All right. What about the rest of you guys? How are y'all doing digital connect cards? I know. So one of the things, let's see, Dan said, CMU taught us to use Facebook group. Facebook group definitely works. I like that. For those of you guys who have Text in Church has smart connect cards that you can create. They're super, they're pretty simple to create. And then the cool thing is you can actually build a group, like a custom group inside of Text in Church. And with that smart connect card, you can send everybody like, hey, just go to our website, which is gutschurch.com/ connect or whatever, and have that connect card. And then when they fill that out, it automatically saves all the information inside of Text and Church. And if you use, you can kind of create a custom follow-up sequence, which now that's going to be kicking off follow-up text messages and emails and that kind of stuff. To that you can even set up a reminders every single Sunday of like, hey, we're getting ready to go live and stuff like that. You can do all of that using Text and Church as well, which is kind of cool. All right. Anybody else have anything on that before we move on? Going once, going twice. Okay. So Pastor Tucker, you got Squarespace, you got Facebook group, or you can use Text and Church. Are all good options to kind of send people there as well. I found that if you post the link during your like at the same time that you're actually doing your live stream, you're going to have a much better result because people just have to click on it and go straight there rather than telling people where to go, right? You basically want to do both. Hey, go to guschurch.com/connect. We're putting the link in the comments right now. If you guys go, especially if you're on like Facebook Live, just post that real quick. That makes it a lot easier for people to be able to just click that. All right, so let's see here. One of the things that we shared last week, I'm gonna just go ahead and put this in here real quick, is if you guys have a YouTube channel or any type of online video, right? So if you guys are live streaming and you're saving those live streams somewhere, the website I just do in there, it's called Ribbit, RIVYT.com, literally helps you create a really, really cool page with all your videos on it. And again, we talked about it last week, but one of the great things about it is that it, now if you're sending people to that Ribbit page instead of to your YouTube page, then YouTube isn't going to be promoting all these other videos after yours, because you can basically control it, right? So they can watch everything on that page, and it can have all of your sermons and live streams, that kind of stuff. You can even create other videos like just Bible studies. Basically, any type of online video that you have, you can use, that website in order to create a really cool distraction-free page, and it just looks way better, way cleaner. So they've got a free option. It's literally $0 a month, or they've got one that is $7 a month for like the Pro. Now, I can't remember, somebody talked about this last week, but Restream.io I thought was a really cool tool. So basically, you can send your live stream to Restream, and then Restream will literally send it out to all of the different. There's like a bunch of different places. So I think they send it to YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and your website and all these different things, right? So I had not heard of it before last week's call, but somebody brought that up and talked about that, and I took a look at it, and it is very cool. So Restream.io, which is in the comments, a cool thing if you're trying to figure out how to send one live stream feed to one place and then shoot it out to a bunch of different platforms. That looks like a very, very cool tool that I did not even know existed. And then finally, I'm going to do, yep, here it is. Church online platform. Actually, I'll do two more here because I think this might help. Church online platform. If you don't like your live stream or you're still trying to figure it out, the Church online platform is dope. I've been really, really impressed by it. And it has, my favorite feature is the fact that it has a live chat that goes on during it, right? So while you're preaching, you can pre-record your service if you'd like to, which is probably what I would do if I was preaching right now. I would, especially if you're a smaller church or you have a smaller team, if you pre-record that, you can upload it and have it go live, just so they call it a simulated live stream, right? So it literally is live streaming, but it's live streaming your pre-recorded video, and you can set it at whatever times you want to, right? You can literally have it play every 2 hours all day long on Sundays. But so you can use that, but it also has a live chat. So if you use a pre-recorded video, you as the pastor can actually be in there answering questions and that kind of stuff and keeping a conversation, right? That active listening is really going to drive your point home. And I think it's one of the biggest advantages that we have right now being able to do online church is to be able to create community using like a chat box, right? So you can do the same thing on Facebook Live, but it's really hard unless you're Ryan Wakefield, because he has like the coolest setup I've ever seen, right? Where he has he set it up in my kitchen a couple of weeks ago when we were driving back from a conference, and we did a couple of calls, and he literally, I don't even know what all the tools he uses, but we were set up in my kitchen, and while we were talking, he uses some software and it pulls up different questions so he can read all the comments and respond and all that kind of stuff. So if you're like me and you have no idea how to make that kind of stuff happen, then something like the online church platform is awesome to be able to be in that chat box. So I'm a huge fan of that. And just so you know, like whenever you're doing any of that, this is Facebook Live. So this is not just your live stream, but if you guys are doing like Facebook Live or Instagram Live or something like that, and you're just talking about something, one of the best ways to get people talking and create connection is to actually ask everybody, hey, man, where's everybody watching from, right? Where's everybody calling in from? If you guys have ever been on a webinar with like a live webinar with somebody who's really good and been doing a lot of webinars, that's actually how they create stuff. Because again, they're just asking a question. It's like, man, just type in the chat box where you're watching from. People are like, oh, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Boise, Idaho. What's up from Washington, D.C., right? Seattle, Washington, represent. And everyone starts, what happens is it's that very first step of them actually doing this, right? It's like, hey, if you guys can hear me, we just put a 1 in the chat box. They know their audio is working, right? Like they're doing it just to try to get people interacting and people in the chat box. Because the more you can get that kind of stuff happening, then it's easier for them to start like, point out some of their scriptures or some of the points that stick out to them or be part of the conversation. So ask 2 or 3 engagement questions up front on your live or your live stream. And that's really going to help you kind of get people talking a little bit. Just ask real easy questions, right? Hey, where are you guys, watching from? Hey, man, put a 1 in the chat box if you guys can hear me. Man, how's quarantine going, right? Man, just put a number in the chat box, 1 to 10. 1 being like you're bored out of your mind and you can't wait to get out of here. 10 being this is the best thing ever and you love sleeping in and hanging out with your kids, right? Like put them in. Again, just little questions like that are going to help you be able to get more engagement. And again, you can do that on your live stream or you can do that on any type of Facebook Live or anything like that, where you have comments, and that's going to get people talking so that when you ask other questions a little bit later, that's going to help you be able to get more responses because you've kind of primed the pump and you've already got them to answer a couple of questions. So it's no big deal for them to keep answering questions, kind of gets the flywheel turning. Dan says Ryan uses Ecamm. Yeah, that's right. He does use Ecamm. I remember seeing that on there. Thanks, Dan. That's awesome. I need to go get that, or I just need to like hire Wakefield to set all that stuff up for me. Because he and I have the same camera. He just does way cooler stuff with it. And he's got that super, if you guys watch Wakefield, he's got that like super cool, like cornflower blue background, right? It's amazing. When we were at the conference a couple of weeks ago, before all the COVID-19 stuff, we were at this huge conference, like 5,000 pastors or something. And everybody knows Ryan Wakefield, like he's famous. So he's talking to everybody, but everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's so weird to see you in person without the blue background, right? Because everyone is just used to seeing him online. And he's actually way taller than you. So you guys probably don't know this because you probably only interacted with me. I'm actually really short. I'm 5'8". There's no way my kids are ever going to play basketball or anything like that. My wife is 4'11", right? She's 5 foot with shoes on. So our kids are going to be gymnasts and wrestlers, maybe some soccer players, never going to be basketball players. And Ryan Wakefield is super tall. So he's like 6'5". So he and I walking around the entire conference, we looked like this everywhere that we went, which is a lot of fun. All right, we've got about 5 minutes left. I want to just open it up to some Q&A questions. What obstacles are you guys seeing right now? What questions do you have? It can be Facebook ads. It can be online church stuff, live stream. It can be anything, right? So what do you guys got?
Hey, Chris, I had a question.
Yeah, what's up, dude?
Yeah, how's it going? Hey, I just wanted to, it's good to see you guys. I just wanted to know if you could give me a quick synopsis of what what a broadcast is going to look like, inviting folks to Easter. If we send our data to you guys, can you just give a quick synopsis? I just need to know what I'm preparing for as far as what's going to happen on ManyChat and stuff like that this week.
Yeah, so basically that broadcast will go out. So I saw that you said it. I haven't read it, but basically they'll put that into a broadcast. I think Eric's probably working on that. Eric or Carrie working on that this week, and that'll go out. Did you ask them to send it on Saturday or Sunday?
I didn't request it. I wasn't sure earlier. I thought it had gone. It goes out once early in the week, and then it goes out on Saturday. But you guys know when the best time is. Friday or Saturday is cool. Probably Saturday would be better, just because we can do a lot more communicating with them. I'll be all done with our production and stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'd recommend, is sending it out Saturday, okay. So that way everyone has 24 hours to see it.
Okay.
Kind of log in. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And it goes back and forth through Messenger. Like, do they click send message and all that kind of stuff, or does the dialogue start happening with that? Or
Yeah. So typically, as soon as that broadcast goes out, you'll have a lot of people responding, especially if you answered it like with a question or something like that. But either way, just because you've got 2,600 subscribers in your ManyChat or whatever, right? So you're going to get more than a few responses and people talking and all that kind of stuff. So typically we like to send it out Saturday morning at 10 a.m. your time. So so I would just look for that, right? People are just gonna be asking questions and saying stuff, so that way you can just be in Messenger answering those questions and just talking to folks.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, very cool.
Thanks.
All right, Remnant Fellowship had a question. Hey, just stick around afterwards. And then I'll talk about. So one of the things that happens inside of ManyChat a lot of times. Remnant Fellowship is saying something isn't working correctly with the Facebook ad campaign. Many people are not receiving the automated response. There's a notification. So if people aren't receiving the automated responses, 99% of the time it's because they're not clicking on send message to start, right? So we've talked about this on previous calls, but just in case you guys are kind of new and stuff, basically inside of that ManyChat, when it says, hey, so basically they click on the send message button on the Facebook ad, right? That opens up Facebook Messenger, and they'll say, pulls in their first name. So they'll say like, okay, John, tell us a little bit about your situation, right? Well, they have to click on, it says click on send prayer request to send us your thing. They click send prayer request. That automatically kicks off the sequence and subscribes them, right? And then that next one says, okay, great. Tell us a little bit about your specifics about your situation. If they don't click send prayer request, they don't get subscribed, and Facebook won't let those automated responses kick off, right? So that's Facebook's thing. They want to make sure that people basically click on some type of button to subscribe to your chatbot and subscribe to your automated sequences before it'll kick off. So if they read that and it says, hey, click on the send prayer request button to send me your prayer request, and they just type in their prayer request and don't click that button, then the sequences won't fire off. It doesn't happen that often, but it does happen sometimes. It's just people who aren't reading the directions, right? So whenever that happens, again, that's Facebook's rule. So you can either just jump in and have a personal conversation, or you can copy paste. We have a lot of pastors do that. We'll just copy paste those responses in there, whichever is easier for you. But they have to click the send prayer request button in order to subscribe and then kick off the automated sequences. Okay, so let's see. The other thing that we've been having a couple of times. So we had 2 or 3 emails about this week. If your ManyChat sequences, if you're running the Facebook ads and it looks like ManyChat sequences are not working, it's probably just because the credit card expired inside of ManyChat. So you just need to go into your ManyChat account, just go into billing, and then put your church credit card in there. If you haven't done that yet, it probably just expired and automatically downgraded to a free account, which is probably what happened. That will also, like I said, 1% of the time, 99% of the time, it's they didn't click send prayer request. The other 1% is because your account automatically got downgraded to a free account because you didn't put your credit card in there. So ManyChat's like $10 a month, but that could be the other thing that's happening here as well. So let's see. Pastor Tucker said, any recommendations we need to do this week? Tweaks to the ad broadcast, other activities since we're having Easter online. The biggest thing is I would make sure to send a broadcast. So like we were talking about with Will, there's a lot of you guys have that video here. Actually, let me find the video real quick. So that's something we can help you with if you guys send it over today. Otherwise, you can set it up yourself whenever you want to. We're pretty backed up on this stuff, so it's easier to do it yourself. But if you need some help, reach out. Like I said, we just have to do it today. So here we go, in the chat, I just popped that in there. So that's a link on how to set up a broadcast. It's actually really easy to do if you want to go ahead and do that yourself. But a broadcast is kind of like a big blast to your email list, right? So you can do those. I recommend doing them Saturday morning and actually sending out a broadcast to everyone on your list and inviting them to your live stream link on Sunday. And then I would send another one on Sunday. Now don't send the same thing, but literally you could just send one on Sunday, say, hey, we're getting ready to, happy Easter. We're getting ready to go live. Here's the link, right? And I think by tagging it as a confirmed event update is probably the best way to do it. Let's see. James said, I would say to get more people who are looking to give. How would you deal with this in Canada? So James, I think in Canada, it's probably the same way in the US, right? People always give to vision. They don't give to need, right? So if you get on there and you're talking about, you know, all the COVID-19 stuff, and you're talking about like how, you know, giving is down and we really need your help to keep the doors open, or we're gonna have to, you know, let some of our staff go, or like when you start to tell that kind of like sob story, like nobody buys into that, right? And the people that do, they kind of resent you for it, like, whatever. But if you give division to say, guys, this is the greatest opportunity that we have faced as a church, right? You know, like since 9/11, right? Like man, like people are more open to the gospel right now than any time they have in the last 20 years, and we can reach people, right? So here's what we're doing to reach people, and you lay out vision, and you talk about what we're doing, and just say, but here's the deal: it takes money to run Facebook ads and pray for people. It takes money to give bags of groceries away to people in need. It takes money to reach people. So man, and basically just, you know, cast some vision and then ask people to give, right? One of the things I've found really helps is if you cast some type of vision and you break it down and basically say, so we have an outreach that we do every single October called the Nightmare, right? And so in the outreach that we do, we typically have on average between 20 and 30,000 people that come through the Nightmare every single October. And we've been doing it for 27 years. And we normally average between 7,000 and 10,000 people that get saved every single year, right? And so like the money that it takes to run that, the amount of volunteers and everything, the way that it breaks down is it's typically for about every $10 that we take to run the Nightmare, someone gets saved. Right. So it's like, hey, here's the bottom line. If you can give to the Nightmare, about every $10 that you send, someone gets saved. Right. So and now that it's knows like, okay, like $10, well, shoot, man, I can give $100 to that. Right. It's gonna be 10 people are gonna get saved if I give $100 to the Nightmare. Right. And those that pretty much works every single year for us. Right. So same thing with like bags of groceries. We help a ministry, they smuggle Bibles into nations that are hostile to the gospel. Right. And so like we ran a campaign for them, like, hey, become a Bible smuggler. Right. And just said like, hey, it costs about $7 to smuggle a Bible from the United States into Iran or Iraq or China or some of these places. Right. So it's like, man, how many Bibles do you want to smuggle? Right. So now they're not just giving like, oh, let me just, you know, I'll give $10 to this. Right. Now it's just thinking, okay, shoot, 10, 20, and I tell you what, I could give $28, man. That's at least going to get 4 Bibles to 4 different families in a nation where the gospel is hostile, right? So, or man, I'm going to give $70 now instead of 10 because I know that's going to give 10 Bibles and smuggle them into a hostile nation. So it really helps because people always get division, and it helps when you can break down what you're looking for. And this is giving, not just tithes and offerings, right? You always want to talk about giving, and you talk to tithes and offerings. One of the things that my church does is we talk about, hey, listen, when you give to Guts Church, you're not giving to an organization. You're not just giving to a slush fund. You're giving to changed lives, right? So all the money that comes in here goes towards changing lives. And here are some of the things that we do, right? And then we talk about, you know, Friday groceries and the bags of groceries. We talk about the outreaches that we do. We talk about, you know, how we're using that money to reach people, right? So it doesn't just feel like they're giving to a nameless, faceless organization. Okay, so man, we're about 5 minutes over here, so I apologize. Do we have one more question before we go and land this plane? Going once, going twice. Ezra, what's up, man?
Hey, man. I don't feel like I'm maximizing mini chat. Is there like a tutorial or something you could post in the comments just to make sure we're using this great tool and resource to really maximize the impact?
Yeah, absolutely. Have you been using, let's see, do you have the link to the cheat sheet?
I think I do. I think I saw it when we first signed up with you guys. So
all right, so I'm gonna put the link to it in there. So on there, it's got like basically just how to set up like all the notifications, how to send the audio prayers, kind of some basically how to accelerate your results and some different things. So I'm gonna send that in there.
great.
And then if you have any specific questions, just feel free to reach out and email us.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
But yeah, so I just put that in there. That's going to have a bunch of different like little hacks and best practices, that kind of stuff.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, rock and roll. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys next week. We're going to be doing this again. Again, if you guys have any questions or any support, just email heather@churchgrowthagency.com or Eric, E-R-I-C. We just hired Eric recently, Eric at Church Growth Agency. So Heather or Eric, just send all of your questions or support requests over to them. And we're going 9 miles an hour, but we'll get you guys in. We'll get everything rocking and rolling while we're in the middle of Holy Week and get things up and running for Easter. So have a good one, guys. We'll see you soon.